The Jameson Williams breakout year is officially upon us. After years of speculation, years of pondering, and years of predictions that this will finally be the year that Jameson Williams breaks out, I think that time is officially here. And I wanted to wait until after his first game. I wanted to wait until after we saw him versus LA to truly put this verdict to rest. But I think after that Sunday night football game, I think after 5 receptions for 121 yards and the single touchdown of the game, I think it's safe to say that the Jameson Williams breakout season is officially here and ready to go. Now, Jameson Williams has always been an exciting player, has always been a flashy player coming out of Alabama at game breaking speed, game breaking ability, and was always a player that was going to sell tickets and put butts in seats. But the consistency has been lacking for Jameson Williams after a really rocky start to his NFL career that included a torn ACL, a gambling suspension, a hamstring injury, and several other off the field issues. Jameson Williams is a player that many people have given up on. Many people outside the Detroit Lions agency have already called him a first round bust and have already kind of pushed him to the side. But Jameson Williams never listened to the critics. Jameson Williams never listened to all of the outside noise. He knew he was on the right path. He knew he was on the straight and narrow. And after a strong offseason with praises from Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, and all the other receivers in his room, it has all finally paid off, and Jameson Williams has officially arrived to the NFL. Now, before we start talking about Jameson Williams sealing this season and what he did on Sunday night specifically, let's take a look back at Jameson Williams as a prospect and how far he's come to truly hit this breakout year. Jameson Williams was a star at Alabama, being the 12th overall selection in 2022 after an Alabama career that saw him put up 79 receptions, 1,572 yards, and 15 touchdowns through the year. He was the most dynamic player in college football, the biggest play threat we'd seen in years within the sport, and he was one of the most unique and explosive players in the entire draft. Now, unfortunately, Jameson Williams, the start to his NFL career did not go as planned. In the national championship game at Alabama, he ended up tearing his ACL, which cost him a majority of his rookie season. And going into his sophomore campaign, he was suspended for the first month, the first quarter of the season, for placing a legal bet on college basketball. The NFL suspended Jameson Williams for the first 4 games of the NFL season after a mix-up of the rules that were set in place. Now, we've talked about the Jameson Williams suspension a ton on this channel. Really, if you've not heard about it so far, Jameson Williams placed a bet on a college basketball game, I believe in March of 2023, at a team hotel. Now, the team hotel was technically considered team property at that time, which means Jameson Williams did violate the policy and code of conduct of NFL players and served his suspension accordingly. But after returning to the Detroit Lions in week 5 of the NFL season, Jameson Williams was quite good for the Detroit Lions and quite an underrated piece of their offense. In 2023, what was essentially 3/4 of a rookie season, Jameson Williams put up 24 receptions on 42 targets for 354 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air, while having 3 attempts on the ground for 29 yards and a touchdown there. It wasn't a all-pro season. It wasn't a Pro Bowl caliber rookie year, but there was a lot of positives to build off of. And as the weeks went on, if you look at Jameson Williams from weeks 5 to 17, you'll see a massive improvement in consistency, a massive improvement from trust in the quarterback, and you'll see Jameson Williams steadily improve and steadily get better as the season went on, and it kind of capped in the playoffs, as in the postseason of 2023, Jameson Williams had 6 receptions for 79 yards, a touchdown, as well as a 42-yard rushing touchdown in the NFC Championship game versus the San Francisco 49ers. His playoff career was off to a really good start. He was finishing his 2023 essentially rookie season on a very high note, and going into 2024, there was a lot of excitement. There was a lot to be ready for, right? Jameson Williams finally seemed like he was back to his Alabama self, finally seemed like he was that big play threat, even though there were a couple of drops here and there at the end of the season. His hands were more consistent, his route running was more consistent, him and Jared Goff had developed a true sense of trust from quarterback to wide receiver. So going into 2024, Jameson Williams had a lot to prove. We knew that he had big play potential. We knew that he could show flashes. We knew that he was an electric playmaker. But going into week 1, after an entire offseason of Jared Goff and Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell singing his praises, Jameson Williams lived up to the hype. In his first game of the 2024 season, in prime time in front of the world, Jameson Williams had 9 targets, 5 receptions, 121 yards through the air, and a touchdown to cap it off. On top of that, he had 1 rush for 13 yards, and it was very clear that the Detroit Lions wanted Jameson Williams to be involved. They wanted to get him the ball early. They wanted to get him the ball often, and it paid off in terms of over 130 total yards from scrimmage and a touchdown through the air. One of Jared Goff's biggest passing plays of the last couple of seasons, really. I would probably put to bet that that was the longest air yards touchdown that Jared Goff has thrown at least since 2022, if not in his entire tenure with the Detroit Lions. Jameson Williams added a big play dimension to the Detroit Lions and really is bringing a field-stretching threat that the Detroit Lions haven't had since DJ Chark in the 2022 season. Now, those numbers look good. You're going to look at those numbers and say, great start to the NFL season. But I don't think it really puts into perspective how good of a week 1 Jameson Williams had. And I want to talk about where he stacks up among the rest of the NFL wide receivers. His goal coming into this season was lead the NFL in yards, lead the NFL in touchdowns. He's going up against some of the best wide receivers in the league, the Tyreek Hills, the Justin Jeffersons, the CeeDee Lambs. So where does Justin Jefferson stack up against those elite wide receivers after just a single week? Well, Jameson Williams is 4th in the NFL in receiving yards as of right now, only behind Tyreek Hill and 2 others. He is the 10th longest play of the season. Of course, that 52-yard touchdown places him 10th on longest plays of the season through the air for a receiver. He ranks 10th in the NFL in targets through week 1, 11th in the NFL in yards per target in the NFL. And with his 5 receptions is tied with CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, along with several other top-tier wide receivers for 10th in the NFL. Now, Jameson Williams has those 5 receptions, which again ties those elite wide receivers with less targets. He had just 9 targets, while CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown both had 10, and Devontae Adams matched him at 9. So comparing him to elite wide receivers through 1 week isn't a crazy concept. Numbers for numbers, he stacks up really well versus some of the best to play the game, and I truly believe that he is a player that is here to stay. I don't think this is a 1-week wonder. I don't think this is a one-off opportunity, and I truly do believe that this is the year that Jameson Williams will put it all together. He seemed a lot more sure in his hands. He seemed a lot more sure with Jared Goff. He was able to actually catch a ball pretty in stride when he beat Tre'Davious White on the double move for the big touchdown. He was a big play threat. He was consistent. He had yak ability. And really, overall, it was a very, very impressive game for Jameson Williams and the Detroit Lions passing attack as a whole. We know how good Sam Laporta is. We know how good Amon-Ra St. Brown is. We know how good Jahmyr Gibbs is in this receiving offense. The one question mark going into this season for the offense was, how will Jameson Williams look? How will he step up to the plate in the absence of Josh Reynolds, and what will he be able to do? Well, he showed you. He showed the world that not only is he ready to step up as the wide receiver 2, he might potentially be ready to step up as the wide receiver 1 and lead this team in receiving yards. Jameson Williams adds a sense of explosiveness. He adds a sense of big playability, and he looked like a true wide receiver 1. He looked like the Jameson Williams that we all saw at Alabama. He looked like the Jameson Williams that Brad Holmes drafted from college. And for the first time in his NFL career, I feel confident in saying that Jameson Williams is a true receiving threat in the NFL, one of the top wide receivers in the conference, and potentially has the ability to be one of the best in the league. But with that being said, it is week 1. It is a little bit early, and of course, it is just a single game of 17. So we will see how Jameson Williams comes back in week 2. We'll see how he looks through the rest and the remainder of his 2024 campaign. But I do think we are in for good things to come. I do think we could potentially see Jameson Williams hit 1,000 yards as a receiver this season. I think after years of waiting, years of strife, and years of fans saying that Jameson Williams is a bust, it does not get any better than this for the young Alabama alumni. So with that being said, that's all I got for you guys right now. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about Jameson Williams' debut for 2024, whether you think it is a sign of things to come or whether or not you think it was a one-off type of game. I'd be curious to hear your guys' opinions and thoughts. But with that being said, that's all I got for you guys right now. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please go down below and do so. It helps the channel out oh so very much. And hit the bell notification so you never miss a Detroit Lions upload. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, and as always, go Lions.